Welcome back. I recently ordered something in the mail that had to be delivered cold, so the manufacturer packaged it with dry ice. Now, it's not often that I have dry ice available to me when I'm outside of the lab, so I figured I'd go ahead and put together a few demonstrations before all the dry ice evaporated away. Now, there are three common states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. A good example is H2O. We understand H2O at room temperature is a liquid we call water. If you freeze it, it becomes ice. That's its solid state. If you take water and boil it, steam will come off of it in the form of water vapor. That's its gas state. Carbon dioxide is made up of one carbon and two oxygens, CO2. Unlike H2O, CO2 does not easily form its liquid state. So at room temperature, we see CO2 as a solid, dry ice, very, very cold dry ice. And we simultaneously see it in its gas state. That's that spooky looking fog-like vapor coming off the surface of the dry ice solid. But what we don't see is liquid CO2. That's because CO2 undergoes a process we call sublimation. That means it goes from its solid dry ice state immediately into its gaseous state, or it sublimes. Now, it is possible to obtain liquid carbon dioxide, but you'd have to drastically alter the temperature and pressure applied to it. Now, as far as safety, you do not want to handle dry ice with your bare hands. You need appropriate gloves in order to handle it. Because it is so cold, you will get a severe frostbite very quickly if you handle it with your bare hands, or even if you handle it with gloves for too long. Also, you don't want to breathe in the carbon dioxide. Now, I did put together several demonstrations on the fly, and I hope you enjoy them all. In fact, you'll really want to stick around for the last one, dry ice bubbles. That one is a lot of fun. So I'll just explain the science as we go along, and I hope you enjoyed the demonstrations.
In this classic demonstration, I have a glass with water in it. In order to see the demo better, I'll add red, water-based food coloring to the water. Now that the water is all red, I simply add some chunks of dry ice to the water and watch what happens. Almost immediately, you'll notice that bubbles rise from the dry ice in the water, and then these bubbles come out of the water and form a fog-like material at the surface of the water. That fog-like material is actually a combination of carbon dioxide and water vapor. It forms because the water is much warmer than the carbon dioxide, and this causes the dry ice to form bubbles of cold gas in the water. When the bubbles escape through the surface of the water, the warmer air condenses the gas into the fog-like substance we see. This fog sinks instead of floating away because it is colder than air, and because carbon dioxide is denser than air. For this demonstration, I have taken a small piece of dry ice and placed it on a glass plate. Now I take a quarter that has been sitting out at room temperature, and I press one edge of the quarter into the dry ice such that the quarter is sticking straight up out of the dry ice. You'll notice the quarter wiggles its way further into the ice as it vibrates and makes lots of noise. This happens because there is CO2 gas subliming all around the warm quarter, causing it to wriggle around rapidly. You can also cut through dry ice pretty easily with a room temperature quarter. Once the quarter gets cold though, this demonstration won't work nearly as well, so always try this with fresh, warm quarters. This one is a little tricky to do. Take dry ice and place it in a bowl. Using either a bubble solution or water with a lot of dish detergent in it, blow bubbles directly into the bowl with the dry ice. As I said, this is tricky to do. But once you're successful, you should notice that the bubbles actually float on top of the dry ice mist or fog. The bubbles are able to float on the mist because the air that you exhaled into the bubbles is actually less dense than the gases in the dense dry ice fog. Take a candle and place it in a safe, non-flammable container. Light the candle. Now, carefully add a few small pieces of dry ice to the container around the base of the candle and wait. You'll notice that the candle blows out after a few seconds. Well, in order for the candle to burn, it needs oxygen as its fuel. When you add the carbon dioxide to the container, the carbon dioxide flushes out the oxygen that's present. And ultimately, this prevents the candle from getting the oxygen that it needs to continue to burn. There is so much carbon dioxide present that now the candle won't even light. Fill a container about halfway with water. Add a few tablespoons of liquid dish detergent. Finally, add several large chunks of dry ice and get ready for the fun. Hundreds of bubbles emerge in layers that make it look like the bubbles are growing out of the container. The bubbling dry ice in the bottom of the container has essentially the same effect as when someone turns a faucet of water on into soapy water and the water forms soap suds. But I must admit, this version looks much cooler. This demonstration is similar to a couple of earlier demonstrations in which we added dry ice to water situated in a container. Here I add blue food coloring just so you can see it a little better. You can already see the dry ice fog coming out of the container. I carefully secure a large balloon over the top of the container opening, trapping the gases inside. As the dry ice is still bubbling inside the water, the trapped gases begin to fill up the balloon, causing it to expand. This time, instead of adding dry ice to water in a container, I'm adding dry ice to a container that has rubbing alcohol in it. Now I'm adding a stretchy, delicious gummy worm to the container, and I'll let it sit in the alcohol for a few minutes. Rubbing alcohol and dry ice is one of several liquid and dry ice combinations that chemists use. We call these combinations cooling baths. Using cooling baths allows chemists to achieve liquid solutions that are much colder than the freezing point of water. This combination gets to minus 77 degrees Celsius. At that temperature, things that are typically flexible and stretchy, like this gummy worm, freeze and become very brittle. Brittle enough that after only a few minutes, you can shatter them with a hammer. Now that the gummy worm has been in rubbing alcohol, please don't eat it. This dry ice demonstration deserves its own video. First, a little arts and crafts. Cut a small hole into the side of an empty plastic bottle about halfway up the bottle. Now, insert a straw into the hole that you've cut. You'll need to seal the hole that is around the straw shut. I'm using glue and a hot glue gun to do that job. Once the glue hardens, you have what I call your dry ice jet. Place very soapy water or a bubble solution in a container. Also pour water into the dry ice jet bottle just below the level of the straw hole opening. Add dry ice and tighten a cap on the bottle. Now the fun begins. Dip the end of the straw in the bottle solution and quickly but gently pull it out. You'll notice that you are now forming dry ice bubbles. Pretty cool, huh? With the soapy solution, the dry ice fog doesn't just make the foggy cloud above the liquid. Instead, the soap actually traps the dry ice fog in a soapy bubble that typically bursts after a few seconds, or after you poke it. Try poking one. Try to get one to settle on your hand or on a table. Have fun with this one because it is totally cool.